This is Jen Mitchell from Solace Divorce Mediation. I am a family law attorney, a mediator, and a life coach. And I'm shooting this Facebook Live from my co-parents' home, which is where our 3 children do their virtual learning. And I am very grateful that my co-parent takes this on, and he's taking a break for the next 3 days, which is well deserved. And so I'm taking over the virtual learning. So just to forewarn you, children may be running in and out of here. I'm in the kitchen right now. So today's topic is the divorce process in the state of Illinois, which is where I am licensed. And today I want to share with you the difference between choosing to mediate your divorce and choosing to use the court system and litigate your divorce. And so before I start explaining the differences, in case you're thinking about going through a divorce, or if you are going through a divorce and you're in the courtroom setting or mediating, hopefully you know this already, but just in case, I want to point out some similarities because these are really important for you to understand if you're thinking about going through a divorce in Illinois. Illinois is the state that I know. That's the state I'm licensed in. But it can be really overwhelming, and everyone's heard all these horror stories of friends and family members who maybe paid tens of thousands of dollars and it cost years and they end up fighting all the time and hating each other and their children were affected. I want to put your mind at ease a little bit and just give you information so you can make the choice that is best for you and best for your co-parenting family moving forward. So there are 3 very key similarities in whichever venue you utilize to go through your divorce journey. These are 3 very important things for you to know. The first one, all divorce in the state of Illinois is governed by one law, and that law is called the Illinois Marriage and Desolution of Marriage Act. And this is important for you to know this because there is a governing body of law that tells us what we should do, and this body of law has provisions for any issue that you might have in your divorce, meaning anything that you have an issue on, if it's your parenting time, if it's the child support amount, the maintenance amount, the property division, traveling with your children, who's going to get the dependent child tax credit, right? Whatever it is that you have an issue in your divorce, all of those issues can be answered from this governing law. So that's important for you to know that first and foremost. Now, as just kind of a little tangent from that, there are some very key provisions in that law that are very vague, meaning they're subject to interpretation, which is why the door is opened up in the litigation world and attorneys can argue and advocate for their client's best interest. Regardless, there is a governing law. You don't want to get too far in the weeds, okay? Second most important thing for you to know is that all you need to do to get a divorce in the state of Illinois is to create 3 documents if you have children, and to create 2 documents if you don't have kids. So if you do not have children, all you need to do to get a divorce is create the judgment for dissolution of marriage and incorporate it into that document. I call that document the mother document because that's the document that the judge signs off on that legally dissolves the bonds of matrimony. Incorporated into that judgment is what's called your marital settlement agreement. The marital settlement agreement, or for short, MSA, contains all of your marital property division agreements. So if you have no kids, those are the 2 things you have to do. That's it. It's not super complicated. You just have to do those things, right? And the good news is that first document, the judgment that I call the mother doc, that is pretty much the same in every case. Different names, different addresses, different employment information, but it's the same. So I'm just sharing that with you so you don't get super overwhelmed. So if you do not have children in the state of Illinois, all you need to do to get a divorce is create your marital settlement agreement containing all of your marital property division agreements, okay? If you have children, you have to create 3 documents. Those same documents, the judgment for dissolution of marriage, the marital settlement agreement, and then your 3rd document you need to create if you have kids is your parenting agreement. Good news, the word custody is no longer used in the family law statute in the state of Illinois. Yay, because that word was really ugly because people were trying to threaten their co-parent by saying, I'm going to get sole custody of our kids. And all that meant before was decision making. That's it. It didn't mean anything more than that. It didn't mean that they had more parental rights than the other parent. All it meant was decision making, but people made it real ugly and were threatening people. So just so you know, if you're a parent, you have the same amount of parental rights as the other parent. No such thing as father's rights or mother's rights. It's parental rights. We all have them when we're parents, and we have the same amount as our co-parent. Okay, anyway, that parenting document. So if you have kids, judgment for dissolution of marriage, marital settlement agreement, third document, parenting agreement. Custody, that word is not used. Now this parenting document is called the allocation of parental responsibilities and parenting plan. Whole long thing, taking over custody. Good news is if you break it down, it's really not that overwhelming. Allocation of parental responsibilities. Who's making decisions for your kids? On education, medical, religion, extracurricular. Second part, and parenting time plan. That's where you come up with your parenting time plan, your weekly plan, school breaks, vacations, and holidays. We'll talk about more of these in other Facebook Lives to come, right? Bare bones, that's all you need to do to get a divorce. Whether you mediate or litigate, that's what you need to do. If you have no children, judgment, MSA. If you have children, judgment, MSA, and parenting agreement. Third similarity, or just kind of overall truth with divorce in the state of Illinois. Whether you are litigating or mediating, you have to go to court one time. Good news is because of COVID, in Cook County at least, all of these prove-up hearings, that's what it's called when you go to court the one time, it's called a prove-up hearing. And the reason for that is because there's all these different Illinois rules in the Illinois law that we have to prove up, such as you've been a resident of the state of Illinois for the last 90 days preceding the date. Naming your children, making sure that the female in the relationship is not pregnant, or if there's two females, neither one of them is pregnant, because the court doesn't have jurisdictions of babies inside, only outside. Regardless, we have to go to court one time. And why do we need to go to court? At that prove-up hearing, the judge is going to be looking over those documents that I just shared with you. Judgment, MSA, and if you have kids, the parenting agreement. The judge is going to be looking over those to make sure that they are in accordance with that law, which was the first thing I brought up. Illinois Marriage and Desolution of Marriage Act. So at that prove-up hearing, if everything is good, so if the parenting agreement is in the best interest of your children, which you are the best authorities to determine what that is, and if your marital property agreement is fair and equitable to your unique marriage, which again, you're the best authorities to determine that, the judge will sign your judgment for dissolution of marriage. Yay, because when the judge signs that, then that means that the bonds of matrimony have been legally dissolved. You are no longer in a marriage contract with your spouse. And secondly, all of your agreements that were made part of your marital settlement agreement and your parenting agreement are now incorporated in your judgment. And when the judge signs it, they become court orders. And that's all you need to do, bare bones, to get a divorce in the state of Illinois. Now, there are two main ways that you can do this. There is a third way. It's called collaborative. If you want to reach out, I'm happy to talk to you about what that is. I'm a collaboratively trained attorney, but I choose not to practice in that venue for reasons of my own. I now solely mediate. And the reason that I solely mediate is because I truly believe that it is the best way to go through this divorce process. Now, not everyone can mediate. Cases that involve, abuse, neglect, something extreme and severe, absolutely they need the court's attention, okay? The majority of the other cases with just normal divorce issues, and divorce is hard, it's very emotional, and it's difficult if you don't know what you're doing, and most people are trained to think in our society that they have to hire an attorney, and they have to litigate, and they have to destroy themselves. Well, I'm telling you, you don't have to do that. You can if you want, but you don't have to. And the goal of my practice, called Solace Divorce Mediation, is I want to revolutionize the way people get a divorce. I truly want to change the way people view and experience divorce because, while it is extremely difficult, it is in our most difficult times in our life that we are given the most extraordinary opportunities to learn more about ourselves, to heal, and to grow. And all it takes is a shift in mindset, just slightly shifted a little bit. And in my Solace process, I have resources and tools and tips and gift baskets and stuff to help my clients do this in a way that's going to make them or help them go through their divorce journey in a way where they're going to come out stronger than they came in. And they're going to be really strong and clear on what they want out of their life experience. It's kind of a tangent of what I was saying about divorce or litigation and mediation. So to get back to topic, right? You don't have to litigate. And the goal of Solace is I want to get as many couples out of that courtroom setting that don't need it, because there is no abuse, there is no neglect, there are no major awful issues that a judge has to step in and intervene. For the majority of cases, the couple is absolutely the best authority to determine what is in the best interest of their children and a fair and equitable way to divide their marital property. So again, two main ways to do it. Litigation, which is the traditional way that our society is brainwashed to think they have to do, which is hiring an attorney, paying a retainer for that attorney, the attorney billing you in 0.1 increments, which represents 6 minutes. I know because I was a litigation attorney for 9 years. And then it just takes a while to finish your case, right? Or the second way, mediation. That's where you stay out of court. You meet with a mediator who is a neutral facilitator and guide to help tell you what the law says. Remember earlier I said there's one governing law. Well, you need to know what that says in order to make the agreements that are best for your family, right? So that's what a mediator is going to do. They're going to help you to understand what the law says. Then they're going to guide you through all of the different conversations that you need to have to help you reach all of the agreements that you need to reach in order to create those legal documents that I referenced. That was part 2 similarity. Part 3 similarity, you go to court one time. At Solace, we have independent contracting attorneys, and so we're a one-stop shop. It starts at the first mediation session, and then we take you all the way through the mediation process, take you to the legal process, all the way through that, to the one and only court date that I referenced, number 3, similarity. And then after that, we have Solace Love newsletters that are full of lots of wonderful life coaching tips and just really living your best self. And then we have really fun events because I love having fun and I love dancing and I love singing and I just love being around people that are really high energy and enjoying their life experience. So we have that too. So let me just run down for you what some of the main differences are between litigation and mediation. And my frame of reference for sharing this is because I was a family law litigator. I was in the courtroom setting for 9 years. And for the past 6 years, I have been out of court focusing on mediation and really figuring out a system that works in every single case. And I'm so excited about so many things that are coming up, one of which is a book that I wrote called Desolution that's being edited right now. And I also just have this we have a rebrand going on. We're going to have a new website, so much wonderful information. And I just have this whole rollout of this new idea that has come to fruition in the last week. And it's just so exciting. I can't wait to share with you. Anyway, let's go through some of the major differences, okay? Because a lot of people, especially if you've never gone through a divorce, you don't know these things. And so I just want to share them to you. My big thing, managed expectations. If everyone has managed expectations, everyone knows what's expected of them, of the other person. Everyone knows what's going on. That means everyone's cool. So let's be cool through divorce. It's hard enough. Let's just take care of ourselves, love ourselves, allow ourselves to process and grieve and heal and learn and move forward, right? We don't need to be super stressed by all the other stuff. Divorce is just as much a legal process as it is an emotional process, okay? So all these little side tips. But what is one of the biggest differences? Time. That is one of the biggest differences between mediating your divorce versus litigating your divorce. At Solace, the average amount of time it takes us to get a couple divorced is between 2 to 4 months. And that is from start to finish. The reason for this is because as I've shared, I love Tony Robbins. He's my jam. Just like he does an immersive, intense, 4 days, 5 days, 6-day event, I like to do the same for divorce. I like to do an immersive divorce experience. Let's just get in it. Let's get dirty. Let's get all these conversations done that we need to get done, and let's get out. Let's be done. Let's move on with our life experience. So 2 to 4 months is the average amount of time. I have cases that have taken longer, of course, right? And the reason for that is it's your journey. If you mediate, especially with Solace, it's going to be your journey. It's not my journey. I've gone through my divorce journey. I'm happy to share that with you too. But it's your journey. And so I recognize that with all of my couples, it's on their time frame, not mine. I'm not there to push them. But typically, and if you're here, right, and you are thinking about a divorce or, started one, once you get to the point of talking about divorce and getting to the point where you've agreed, yes, we're going to do this, I don't know anyone who wants to just kind of dilly-dally through it, right? But there are some couples, especially with COVID, that's kind of shaking everybody up. And so there are things out of our control, and it is what it is. But time frame is significantly shorter. I can't even manage your expectations any longer with regards to how long it would take you to get a divorce using the court system. I cannot. And the reason I can't is because of COVID. I can tell you that I scheduled a prove up today, which before COVID would have taken 2 weeks from today's date. During COVID, it would have taken anywhere between 2 to 7 days because the court didn't have anything except for emergency motions and prove-up hearings, which is all I use them for. So that was great. But now the date that we were given for a mediation case outside of court, just going to court one time for that prove-up hearing to get the judge's signature on the judgment, December 2nd, which isn't awful, but it's still pretty far out. It's more than 2 weeks. It's more than 2 days and 5 days. So I'm sharing this with you because using the litigation system to get a divorce now, I have no idea how long it would take. I'd say a year, maybe, if you're lucky, maybe 2. A long time. So the second biggest difference is cost. At Solace, I, again, managed expectations. I like to provide all of my consultations with a flat fee, which is this is how much your divorce is going to cost from start to finish. Everything that needs to get done, right? When you sign your marriage license, when you get married, it's one signature, 1 page. When you get a divorce, if you have children, it's like 80 pages of legal documents that you go to that prove-up hearing with. So at Solace, we do start to finish, and I give flat fee, and it's a fraction of what couples would pay using the litigation system. And in that system, I wish I could manage your expectations, but I can't because they don't typically do flat fee structures. The litigation attorney will do a retainer and then just have billable hours. So they'll give you their hourly rate, and however long it takes them to do something, they're going to bill you for that. And it's going to go until you get to the one and only prove-up date in the litigation system, which goes back to my first difference, time. Who knows how long that's going to take. So typically a litigation case will cost you a lot of money. The biggest thing for me, probably because I'm a Virgo, and I guess I'm probably a control freak, not guess, I know I am. I just like things done the right way. And I don't like other people interfering and affecting my vibe. Is the amount of control that you have. When you are inside of the court setting using litigation attorneys, 0, pretty much. I'd say 0. I don't know, maybe 1%. Really not that much at all. You don't have very much control at all when you have litigation attorneys. And the reason for that, even though if you are in court, I want you to know you are the boss of your attorney. It's not the other way around. You can tell your attorney what you want. But the attorney's job is to be your zealous advocate and look out for your best interests. Your attorney is going to be saying all these different things, right? At the end of the day, when you boil everything down in the courtroom setting, this is how it works. Your attorney is going to make an argument for you, for your best interest. Your spouse's attorney is going to make an argument for your spouse's best interest. And they're going to do their advocating, and they're really smart, and they're really good at it. At the end of the day, there's a judge sitting at the front of the courtroom wearing a robe, elevated, answering to judge, Your Honor, very smart, very capable, also caseload overwhelmed with a docket overwhelmed with cases. That person, your judge, is making the decisions for you and your spouse and your children. How often you're going to see your children, how you're going to spend holidays, how you're going to divide the marital property that you have worked your butt off to accumulate. A judge is going to decide all of that when you are litigating. I guess you could agree to things, but typically when you agree to things, it's usually because one person doesn't have any more money to pay their attorney fees, and so they just are like, fine, take whatever you want. I hate you. I never want to talk to you again. So maybe not every time a judge decides, but most times, right? And if not, then you kind of give up by default. Oh, there's June. So difference, that's my daughter, Juniper, second graders, killing it in virtual. So difference between that and how much control you have in mediation, hugely different. In mediation, you are in complete control of what agreements you come up with. Complete control. Now, does this mean it's a free-for-all? No, because remember when I started this video, right? Remember the very beginning of this live, there are 3 similarities between mediated divorce and litigated divorce. The first one, there is a governing law, the Illinois Marriage and Desolution of Marriage Act. And the third one is that we have to go to court. And when we go to court, the judge is looking over your agreements to make sure that they're in accordance with that law. And if they're not, you're not going to get a divorce. A judge isn't going to sign off on it. So when I say that you're in complete control when you're mediating your divorce, what I mean is you are in complete control because you are outside of court having all of the difficult conversations that you need to have outside of court to reach all these agreements, which make up the second similarity. So remember, there were 3 similarities. First one, same governing law. Second one, the same documents. Third one, the same court appearance, the prove-up hearing to get a divorce. When you're mediating, you come up with all of those agreements in that second one, in all of your marital settlement agreement, which is the marital property division, and your parenting agreement. You come up with those, you and your spouse. You have difficult conversations and you reach the agreements that are in the best interest of your children and that are fair and equitable for your marital property division. And no one is making that decision for you other than you, the 2 of you. What else is different? Okay, so this is another big difference. Services provided. That's pretty different in the courtroom setting versus the mediation room. So when I litigated, all we focused on in that venue was the legal process of divorce. Remember I said there's 2. There's the legal process of divorce and the emotional process of divorce. When I litigated, it was only the legal process. That's it, which of course we're attorneys. That's what we focus on, right? But anyone who's been to court, the courtroom, it's real bland. They're usually like beige or tan. I don't even know what color the walls are. They're not cute. There's no color. There's really no flowers. There's no love. There's no light. It's very just structured. And, when we're talking about divorce and families and making this transition from marriage to co-parents or marriage to friends, there's a lot more that goes into it than just the law. Yes, there is a governing law, but this is a really big disruptor in your life. This is a really big happening. And so the difference between litigation, just legal. That's it. We don't talk about emotions in the courtroom. I never saw anyone give, a party in a courtroom some bath salts or essential oils or a sage smudger, to burn and get all the negative energy out of their home. It's not there. In the mediation process, at least at Solace, and that's the only one I can speak on because that's the one I created and that's the one I'm madly in love with and just so ridiculously passionate about. But at Solace, we focus on both the legal process and the emotional process, because they're both happening when you go through a divorce. And so with the emotional process, we want to talk to you about the 4 bodily selves, the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. And we want to talk to you about how they're all connected and help give you resources and tips to help you feel better, help you try to feel good during this very difficult time and stay focused and stay committed to coming out of it stronger than you went into it. And the only way that you can do that is by knowing how to do that. And none of that is shared in the courtroom setting. So it is what it is, right? And I keep having this this troll. Sorry, it keeps distracting me, but the troll from Frozen 2. I don't know if you've seen Frozen 2. Oh, there's Will. That's my cat. He doesn't live with me anymore, but he's so sweet. Anyway, I don't know if you saw Frozen 2. As you saw my daughter Junie walk in here, she is 8. And so we did see Frozen 2 right before COVID closed down all the movie theaters. But I want to share a statement from one of the elder troll, the female elder troll. And I'm not quoting it word for word. I'm just going to give you the gist. And I'm sharing this with you because I hope it helps you. She said, "It is such a beautiful gift to grow old, because when you grow old, you have the ability to look back on your life and everything makes sense." And I think that is so powerful to hold on to if you're going through a divorce or thinking about going through a divorce, because it's going to be a whirlwind. Divorce is a roller coaster every day. Good days, bad days, even in the same day, good day, bad, good time, bad time, right? It's up and down. That's why you have to have a really good toolbox that you can use to help you feel good, to help you get out of those dark times and bad moods, right? But what the troll shared is beautiful. At least it was beautiful for me to hear. I hope it's beautiful for you to hear. Just to know that even if you don't know where you're at right now, even if you don't know why all of this is happening to you and you feel really lost and really confused and you feel like sad or dark or just overwhelmed, just know you're okay. You're doing great, and if you're going through it right now, you're also going through a global pandemic. So give yourself some grace, give yourself some love, because you're really doing a great job. And even though it doesn't make sense right now, it will. I promise you, there are so many amazing things that are going to happen for you after you get through this. Once you commit to yourself and you share with the world what your truth is. And if your truth is, this isn't working anymore for me. We're just not vibing the same way anymore. I don't want to be married to this person anymore. It's okay. That's okay. That just means that you've changed. You're a different person than you were when you signed your marriage license, however many years ago that was. And that's what life is about. We are supposed to be growing. We're supposed to be changing. And during those times of growth and change, it's difficult because we're moving from one thing to another. So hold on to that troll. I need to find out what her name is. Anyway, I loved it. When I heard it, I was like, oh gosh, this makes me feel so good. Think of the troll, right? Even if it doesn't make sense now, when you get old, which let's all hope that we get to live long, beautiful, wonderful lives and enjoy every ounce of this life experience and have it just last so long, right? But when we're old, looking back in our life, where you're at right now, it's going to make sense to you. And you're going to see all of the doors that it opened by doing it. So I know it's hard. I've been there. I'm out the other side now, and it gets better. That's all I want to share with you. It gets better. And so hopefully this video helps you with determining what the right path for you is. Is it mediation? Is it litigating? And just hold true to your heart. There are 3 similarities. Same law. Whether you're in court, out of court, doesn't matter. It's the same law. Second, same documents that need to be drafted. And third, you have to go to the same court appearance to get the judge's signature. So I'm sending you all so much love and light. I have dings coming in. I have alarms going off for virtual learning. I love you all. I'll be doing the lives for the next 2 days from here. I have no idea what I will look like on day 3, but I'm sending all of you so much love. Be the change you wish to see in this world. Have a wonderful Monday.